Welcome back, everyone. Sheepdog Smokey here, and I've been waiting a few days on this because I thought it would just kind of fade away like most of the crap we get from the supposed mainstream media, but it's not. According to Ilhan Omar, Donald Trump is extremely unpatriotic and disrespectful to our country. President Donald Trump continued his criticism of Representative Ilhan Omar during a local media interview in Minnesota on Monday. She's got a way about her that's very, very bad, I think, for our country. I think she's extremely unpatriotic and extremely disrespectful to our country, Trump said in an interview with KSTP News. The president defended sharing a video on social media criticizing freshman Congresswoman Ilhan Omar for describing the 9/11 terrorist attacks as some people did something. Look, she's been very disrespectful to this country. She's been very disrespectful, frankly, to Israel. And she is someone that doesn't really understand, I think, life, real life, what it's all about, Trump said. Omar complained that the president's tweet led to an increase in direct threats against her life. When asked if he had second thoughts about sharing the video, Trump replied, no, not at all. Trump also criticized Omar as out of control on Monday on Twitter. Before Nancy, who has lost all control of Congress and is getting nothing done, decides to defend her leader, Rep. Omar, she should look at the anti Semitic, anti Israel, and ungrateful U.S. hate statements Omar has made, he wrote. She's out of control, except for her control of Nancy. Now, this is one, honestly, where people are demanding that the president apologize. They're demanding that Trump supporters apologize for supporting him. They're demanding Twitter and Facebook just knock him off their platforms. They're basically demanding full censorship of anyone who disagrees with Omar. For those of you who have followed me on social media for any amount of time, I believe I've mentioned it here as well. I am a former volunteer firefighter. Several years ago, I was on a local volunteer fire department in North Texas. Sadly, getting older and an injury means that I'm no longer allowed to really be on the fire department. I still have friends who are on, and I still go out and go to the fish fries with them and so on and so forth, but I'm basically just back to what I was before I was on. And 9/11 2001 was a day where thousands of people died, many of them New York first responders, firefighters, police, and EMTs and other EMS people or officials that entered those buildings knowing full well there was a better than 75% chance they would not make it out. It was not some people did something. It was terrorists. Muslim terrorists flew commercial airliners into the World Trade Center towers and killed thousands. And American patriots and heroes who didn't care about the politics of anyone else around them jumped into action to save lives. If you'll also remember, Donald Trump showed up with his employees to start moving rubble and helping the emergency workers paid on his dime while they would have been doing other projects, but no, they were helping clear the rubble. But imagine, if you will, if a conservative government official was asked about the Crusades and they responded with, well, some people did something. If asked about a time when the Catholic Church went into the Middle East to wrest control of Jerusalem from Muslims to return it to, at that time, Catholic control, if that was described as Omar described 9/11, there would be outrage the world over. Media outlets left and right would be calling for all but tarring and feathering of the person who was so insensitive as to belittle and mock the deaths of so many Muslims at the hands of the Catholic Church. But when it's a Muslim woman in Congress belittling and mocking the deaths of thousands of American citizens at the hands of Muslim terrorists, we're not allowed to disagree. We're not allowed to call her out. She is right now protected by Capitol Police and others. I do not believe that she is receiving death threats, and I'll tell you why. The people making death threats are not conservatives. They are not Trump supporters. They are the Bernie bro who shot at a Republican softball practice. They are Antifa who swing bicycle locks on chains at people's heads while on UC Berkeley campus protesting a speaker invitation to a private event. They are the white liberals who harass and threaten Candace Owens at University of Pennsylvania. Are you seeing a pattern? The people who threaten others with violence are the liberals. They're the ones who tell you that you are not allowed to say anything they do not approve of, but they're allowed to say whatever they damn well please. For a member of Congress, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, faith, whatever you want to call, to mock and belittle the worst terrorist attack in decades on our soil, something that we know had been attempted multiple times. There was a bombing in the 1990s to try to take out the underground supports. Thankfully, that failed. But on 9/11/2001, they finally got their way. And now, Representative Ilhan Omar, who is not an American natural born citizen, who, by all reports, married her brother to gain a green card and be able to immigrate and stay in the U.S., who, if the FEC is to be believed, used campaign financing to divorce her brother, now mocks and belittles the 9/11 Memorial Day. She says, well, some people did something. There is a video, and I've seen it multiple times, where when she's talking about Hezbollah or Al Qaeda, she seems almost giddy. But when she says the word America, she seems almost disgusted. Yet she will tell you repeatedly, loudly, ad nauseum, that she's patriotic and loves this country. Why then is she refusing to, or did she refuse to abide by United States House of Representatives rules, which state no head coverings? Why did she demand that those rules be changed for her? If she loves this country and is so patriotic, she would abide by the rules and laws of this country. But she doesn't. She mocks and belittles and rants and raves all day long, demanding that anyone and everyone who is critical of her in any way is a racist bigot who is just trying to censor her. Now, coming from a Muslim country as she did, that's not a surprise, because in that country you're not allowed to have free speech. But in this country you are, Representative Omar. You are free to make the asinine statement you did about 9/11. I am, as someone who lost firefighter brothers and sisters, police brothers and sisters, and EMS brothers and sisters that day, I am allowed to criticize you for it. I am allowed to call that statement asinine and irresponsible. And I am allowed to point out that you are a public official. I am not. If anything, the rules of decorum state someone in a position of authority must moderate their actions, must moderate their patterns and their habits and their speech to be a better reflection upon the office in which they serve. I have been management in retail as well as food service. I have been in a position of authority in the travel and hospitality business. I have been in a position of authority in a call center. In all of those instances, I was expected to not give a bad image to the company I worked for. Yet you sit in the halls of Congress, one of the three branches of the U.S. government, and mock and belittle the day thousands of Americans died at the hands of terrorists. And then you demand no one be allowed to criticize you, no one be allowed to call out that idiotic, asinine statement. Well, I tell you one thing and one thing only. No. I will not be silenced, because I know that the First Amendment guarantees me my right to speak. Me calling your statement asinine and just horrible is not a threat to you. I have said many times, and I will say many times until I am unable to speak, I abhor violence for violence' sake. The only reason for violence is to defend oneself. No one is being threatened by your words. They are being offended by them. They are being sickened by them, like I am. But that is not a threat to me. That is not violence to me. So I simply return in kind with my words. Anyone seeking to employ violence should be apprehended, charged, tried, and convicted under the law. The Capitol Police are among the best at what they do, as are all of the other security officials around the government buildings. So, if you have received a death threat, provide that evidence to the people that you have protecting you. Unfortunately, I've seen no credible evidence. I've seen only Omar on television show after television show and all day on Twitter just repeating that the president's words have put her life in danger, but there's never any evidence to support it. Meanwhile, we see people regularly from the left call for violence against conservatives, and Miss Omar, who says words have put her at risk, says nothing about the people who are actively calling for violence against conservatives. It rings hollow in my ears. And I will say it again: anyone threatening violence against someone else when not defending their life and their safety should be held accountable for that. There's one cause and one cause only for violence, and that is to defend oneself. If I do not feel physically threatened, I will not get violent. I may get passionate, I may say things that I would not normally say, but I will not be physically violent unless threatened with physical violence. But I also will not be silenced. Representative Ilhan Omar has mocked the day my brothers and sisters in red and blue died saving Americans who were attacked by terrorists. Her words mock that memory, and I will not be silent about it. But I've talked long enough about this. Let me know what you think. Keep the comments civil. Make sure that we are having a debate, not an argument. And until next time, everyone, have a wonderful day.